Wait, they were like, what?
And I was like, boss, please.
Hey, bosses. Welcome to Boss Confidential. I'm Megan.
I'm Jillian.
And I love these. I love Boss Confidentials. Today I want to talk about, what do you think about sociopaths in high power? Have you ever had to deal with one? Or, I mean, I've dealt with one in a relationship. But the reason why I want to talk about this for a Boss Confidential is because, I mean, I was I'm a few weeks behind, but I just watched the Fire Festival. Months behind. I know. I need to, there's so many things I need to catch up on, but everyone was talking about the Fire Festival on Netflix and Hulu. So I watched it and I was like, oh my God, Billy. Wait, what's his last name? McFarlane. Billy McFarlane is such a sociopath. Like, as I was watching it, within the first 5 minutes, I knew it. I was like, this guy is literally a sociopath. He is just using everyone. He's so manipulative, and he's so good at just getting what he wants. And another definition of a sociopath is someone that doesn't have a soul. And he literally not really fired his entire company, but he said, I can't pay you.
Yeah.
So if you want to leave, you can. So none of his employees could even file for unemployment because he wasn't even really fired. It was just so stupid.
So I just Googled sociopath real quick.
Yeah.
Just so we can have like a solid definition to work off of. A person with a personality disorder manifesting itself in extreme antisocial attitudes and behavior and a lack of conscience. And I think we should emphasize the lack of conscience portion for this talk. Personally, I have been lucky enough to not have to deal with a sociopath. I've been very blessed in my career where I've dealt with really reasonable people. And then also in my love life, I haven't really dealt with anybody with like extreme sociopathic tendencies. I've learned so much about sociopaths from Meghan. Mm-hmm. I think once I told her what a sociopath was, everything clicked.
Oh, yeah. I don't even think I knew the definition. I don't even think I knew what one was until I was explaining to you my relationship situation. You were like, I think he's a sociopath. And I was like, oh my gosh. So I started doing a bunch of research, and there's a lot of different terms. I mean, a lot of people can say that, sociopaths and narcissists are two different things, but they do have a lot of similarities. But the thing with a sociopath is they are just soul-sucking, and they don't have a soul themselves. So I think what the hardest thing to realize is about a sociopath is that they mirror the person you want them to be. So they will transform into whoever you need them to be at that time. Mm-hmm. And so you think, oh my gosh, this is the person I've been looking for. Or if it's in a boss setting, oh my gosh, this person is so fantastic. They really know what they're doing. And then once you start to see this facade after a couple months, things don't add up. And as you can see with the Fire Festival, shit just hit the fan. And up until the very last second, Billy was trying to hold it together, saying, we got this. Meanwhile, as things were crumbling, it's like he refused to see or take responsibility that was his fault.
And bigger than that, he was such a master manipulator that,
well, that's what it is.
If you look back on all of his career ventures, because Fire was like the third or fourth thing he had done. Mm-hmm. He had this like sort of credit card company with perks. Magnesis. And then he had Fire like Media, which basically was book high-end talent for festivals, parties, whatever. And none of these ventures actually made money. When you looked at the books and you broke it down, nothing made money, yet people still gave him tons of money.
He was so good at manipulating that he convinced millionaires who may have been socios themselves to give him money, his company money, to yet run it into the ground. So he is in jail where he belongs. But even still, when you're watching this documentary, you're almost feeling sympathy. Like, as people were getting interviewed, they really didn't speak badly about Billy. They did, but they were like, or most of his employees did, but the people, like that one guy that flew in to like help him, he was like, poor Billy, man, like poor Billy. Like, no, not poor Billy.
Yeah, and he never got paid, that guy.
Yeah. It's just mind-boggling.
The thing that stuck out to me, and granted, I watched this a while ago, so I think it was Billy that said this, but he called, I think he was like a marketing guy or whatever, and he called him and he was like, hey, and it was a gay guy. He's like, hey, I need you to take one for the team.
Yes.
And he's like, I need you to go to customs and I need you to basically suck this guy's dick so we can get water. So like whatever, the Evian water that they ordered could be used for the festival. Like, are you, and the guy was going to do it. He literally went home, and because this kid is such a fucking master manipulator, he like took a shower. He was like ready to go over there, and like thank God the guy was like, oh no, I can help you if you just give us more money. So he didn't have to, but like this is just it's crazy.
It's crazy. So I was also thinking too, I also last night I watched Abducted in Plain Sight. Fucked up, first of all. Secondly, that guy was a sociopath, because these people are wired differently. I mean, Ted Bundy, psychopath, but in a socio way. I mean, psychopath psychopath is basically a sociopath and also a killer in one. These people are brilliant. Their minds are not like, and I'm not saying that in a complimentary way. Their minds are so on a different level, but their ability to manipulate is scary. And what's scary is they're walking amongst us. And that's why I wanted to have this conversation, because I'm sure if you don't know one, I mean, we all know one, president, but it's crazy how successful these people are. And that's what scares me. I don't want them to be successful. Why are they in such places of high power? Because no one can beat their manipulation. I'm going to outbeat someone's manipulation someday.
I feel like, yes, they are in high power, but your reputation always comes back to bite you in the ass.
Do you think so?
I do think so. I mean, if we're just going to talk about the president, for example, a lot of things that he's done, I do believe, are going to come back and bite him in the ass eventually. I don't know when that's going to happen, but, the manipulation that he has done with his Republican Party has been insane. I think that finally they're starting to realize that this man is not the person that we wanted in this position. And like, even so, my family, a couple of my family members, they did vote for Trump. And instead of agreeing with him, now what they're saying is, well, I don't agree with everything he says.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
That's the key.
So like, I do believe that reputation has something to do with it. And, Meghan and I were trying to break it down before, and we were looking at sort of like male sociopaths versus female sociopaths.
Right.
And the only one that came to my mind as far as female, like I don't know any female sociopaths personally, but there was this one woman, Anna Delvey, and she was like this con artist that sort of just conned the New York social scene. She essentially pretended to be a socialite and stole a ton of money from people, and like a true sociopath was able to manipulate in ways that people could not even believe. They bought her story so hard. And I do think that they're going to make a movie about this chick, because really like what she did, like the Fyre Fest documentaries, it's like people need to hear these stories and hear sort of, how crazy this is, even though like a lot of these people that were in the moment with him thought this was normal behavior. And everyone else that's watching is like, are you kidding me? How could you ever think this was normal? It's like, well, when you're talking to a sociopath,
they're that good at making you think that that's reality. I mean, I was in a relationship with a sociopath, and you looking at me from the outside, same thing. It's like, I was the documentary. You were watching me fall to pieces and being like, this isn't my friend. This isn't the Meghan I know. But because I was in it, it's so hard. And if you're in a relationship with a sociopath and you want to reach out, or you think you may be, please, because I understand better than anyone how it's so hard to break yourself from that relationship and reality, because it's wrong, but they're so good at making you feel like you can't be without them, and they've got your mind so manipulated that you forget who you are. And it's crazy, because my other friend Haley just saw my ex, the sociopath, this past weekend, and I had no feeling. I was just like, oh my God. It was shocked. I was like, oh my God, you did? I was like, damn. She's like, yeah, he looks like shit. I'm like, good. But I didn't care because I'm so far beyond it now. But it took a while. And I don't wish someone getting messed up or connected with a sociopath on my worst enemy. Like, I do not wish that on anybody because it is just, it's terrible. But I find it fascinating. I find their minds fascinating. Yeah. But it's terrible to be in. So we just want to have this open discussion. I know it was like kind of different than what we normally talk about, but just be aware because a lot of these people are in places of high power and you could be working under one. Just be mindful.
Yeah. And if you ever need any detectives to help you figure out if the person that you're looking at is a sociopath, Meghan is excellent.
Oh, I'm like an expert. They like go in my circle all the time. For some reason, I just attract these messed up people. So,
well, that's it for us today. Keep in touch with us on Twitter and Instagram if you want to continue the conversation. We love talking about this stuff, and we will see you guys next week.
Bye.
Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Boss Please Pod. And don't forget to rate, comment, and subscribe on iTunes. Navigate the path to your best self with us because bossing together is always better.